Grace. I was lost for words this time. I'm worried that Valentine will soon find me, and I am not ready to face him. I am not sure if freezing time would affect him, as it didn't work for Erica. I have to harness all my powers, and I don't even know where to start. Plus, I'm pregnant. I don't want to put my baby in danger, and there's also Ulrich. I still have to tell him about the baby. My head is just about to explode for all the things I have to do. What powers do you have so far? It doesn't come all at once, more like one at a time. Ask them. I can freeze time. Can I ask a question? I saw them nod. I am not sure if this is a power, but I've never taken French, as an elective when I was in school anyway. When my friend took me to a French restaurant, my mind translated everything into English. Is that a power? M nodded. I read about it. That's advanced literary manipulation. You read something, absorb all information, and your mind translates it for you. If it is just basic lit, your mind doesn't convert it. Oh, that's cool. That makes me feel like the coolest kid in town. What else? Asked M. That's it for now. I haven't noticed anything different since High Crown. And Emlyn had a worried look on her face. Why were you at High Crown? Did you go in? There was a party, and Victor was kind enough to invite me, but I was afraid that they didn't want a human like me to join them, so I didn't go. But we were all in the same car, so we dropped off Victor and the others. Auntie Lynn's shoulders slumped. It was a sign of defeat. What's wrong? Am I not supposed to go there? I asked her. Your mother asked me for a favor, and that's to make sure you stay hidden from everyone. I knew your father is a wolf, but the reason why I didn't think you were the hybrid is that your mother is not a witch. I wasn't expecting the powers to skip a generation. Stay hidden. She nodded. Yes, after I told her about her birth mother's death, which is powers and realm, and that she's the rightful heir to the throne, she asked me to cast a spell on you. Dawn doesn't want anything that has to do with Shadow Moon. She asked if I had kids, and I told her I had 2 daughters. What she said next floored me. What did Mom say? She said, if I was kidnapped as a baby, and someone sent powerful demons to kill the knight, I found you so you won't get the throne. Imagine what my life would be with no powers to protect me. I won't be able to protect my child. I don't want that life of constantly looking over my shoulder. You are her priority, Grace, and Dawn believes that the both of you will live a normal, peaceful life if you and her stay hidden. So I granted her request. It's just that my power has a limitation. Call it an expiration if you like. What kind of limitation? The moment you step into your father's territory, my spell will stop taking effect. So when you said you dropped off your friends at High Crown, that's what happened. I see. Now, I understand why Mom chose to work multiple jobs to make ends meet. Aren't you curious who your father is? He is in High Crown, said Aunt Emlyn. I shook my head. I really don't want to talk about him. I don't want to know him. He was never there for me, and I survived this long without him. I don't need him now in the near future. But, sorry, Aunt Emlyn, that man is a touchy subject for me. Even when Mom attempts to talk to me about him when she was still alive, I ask her not to. I want nothing to do with him. She looked resigned. All right, if that's what you have decided, I will respect that. Thank you. She glanced at her wristwatch and noticed how late it was. Oh my, look at the time. Grace, you need to get some rest. It's not good for the baby when you stay up late. How about we all rest for now, and we will talk again tomorrow? I nodded along with everyone, and Erica showed me to my room. I slept well last night. There was a lot of revelation yesterday, and it was overwhelming. I felt the need to empty my bladder, so I went to the washroom. I ended up taking a shower, too, and played with the water a few times. I was able to stop a few particles from dripping while the rest continued to pour. It was so awesome, and I had fun doing it. After the shower, I got dressed and went to the kitchen downstairs. I noticed one of the helpers did not look happy to see me. I asked her a few times where I could get tea, and she didn't answer me. How rude. That's when Erica walked in, showered and all dressed. Don't look so surprised to see me like this. I did open the coffee shop a few times at 6 in the morning, you know. She laughed. Not my favorite, but I had to do it. Have you had tea or coffee? I shook my head. I was asking her, but I am not sure if she heard me. Does she have a hearing problem? I pointed at the helper. Nympha. No, she doesn't have a hearing problem. I think she was trying to ignore you. Erica looked pissed. Oh. That's all I came up with. She reminds me of Vivian, who doesn't like me living at Bronze Ridge, because I was human. This time though, this girl Nympha was treating me indifferently because I am a wolf. Nympha, come here for a second. Yes, princess. Asked Nympha, who dropped everything she's doing in an instant. I need a black coffee and a cup of hot water. I want you to bring out the best teas for Princess Grace. Nympha's eyes widened. Princess. But she's a wolf. I don't understand. She's the late Queen Amber's long-lost granddaughter. You are to treat her with respect at all times. Do we understand each other now? Yes, princess. Nympha turned to look at me. My apologies, Princess Grace. It won't happen again, Grace. Before Erica and I left Shadowmoon the next day, I gained another power. I was having a shower when I realized that I had forgotten to grab a towel. I remember leaving it on the bed when I checked my phone. Ugh. It's frustrating as I stare at the door and wish it would open. Then the towel can come to me. I was startled when the door swung open. It took me a second to process it. I think I just did that. I want to try again. I like the towel this time. I stared at it, then waved my hand and now I am holding it. Oh, this is so cool. I wonder what else will I have. After drying myself, I got dressed and dialed Ulrich's number. Hopefully, he picks up again. But it just kept ringing and ringing. After the 10th time, I gave up. I will try him again once I am back at Bronze Ridge. I already said goodbye to Aunt Emlyn earlier as well as Cousin Em. It was fun having them around and dining with family for a change. I will visit more often. I heard a knock on the door, and it was Erica. Ready to go back to Bronze Ridge? She asked. Yes, I am ready. I feel much better now that I have talked to your mom. I know she's hiding something from me still, but I won't force her to talk about it. She will tell me when she's ready. You think so too, huh? All right, let's go then. She created a portal and off we went to the north of Toronto. When the portal opened, we were back in my bedroom. I'm going to my bedroom and rest before we practice your powers. Is that okay? Yeah, I'm going to see if Victor is home. Too, I'm going to talk to him about my trip. I will see you in a bit. When Erica left the room, I tried to call Ulrich again, but he didn't answer. I am going to strangle that man when I see him next. I felt thirsty, so I went down to the kitchen to get some water. That's where I saw Vic having coffee. Hey, you're back. How was your trip? He put the cup back down in the saucer. It was good. I learned a few things from my aunt, and also gained another power. I sat on the chair next to him. He raised a brow. Power. Do you want to see? I asked him. The last person in the kitchen just left and went to the back, so it's just us. Sure, no one is here, so you can show me. I was about to do it when he stopped me. It's not going to blow the entire house off, is it? He looked worried. Nope. Just watch this. I waved my hand to open the fridge, and the bottled water landed on the table. I closed the door after. Victor looked amazed and was about to say something when I heard footsteps. When I turned my head around, I thought I'd faint. It was Ulrich. And Vivian. Ulrich. It smells like tomatoes in here. The same one from the party that evening. Vivian and I walked into the kitchen to find Alpha, Victor, and a woman with their backs on us. But the fridge hasn't just closed on its own. What the fuck? I sniffed the air, and aside from tomatoes, I could also smell a she-wolf and a witch. It's not Vivian. Mate! Screamed Havoc. I pushed him at the back of my head. I know he is excited that we finally found our mate, but now is not the time to scare her away. And something just happened too. She did something only witches can do. Did Grace just what the hell just happened? Victor's smile was frozen, and I could sense his uneasiness. Vivian paled and looked like she was bitten by a snake. Well, I didn't know how to react to that. She's human. She is not supposed to do that. I haven't been gone too long, have I? You're a witch? Asked Vivian. She blurted out the word I can't voice out. Grace had a slight frown on her face, while Victor narrowed his eyes at Vivian. Alpha Ulrich, said Victor. He cleared his throat. This is my friend and new employee, Grace Aspen. Grace, this is Alpha Ulrich of High Crown. He is here for a visit and was invited by my sister. That's when Grace turned around fully, and I saw her rounded belly. I felt a kick to my stomach, and Grace grabbed her side as well. She felt it. That baby is mine. We spent one night together, and I am going to be a father. Grace. I felt wonderful saying her name. You know her? Asked Vivian. The crease on her forehead is getting deeper by the second. Yeah, shiz, but she cut me off, and the following words that came out of Vivian's mouth floored me. I was going to say Grace is my girlfriend. Vivian leaned on my side. I invited him so I can spend time with my fiancé. We just dropped by here to get some water for our walk, she said to Grace. Grace's smile vanished. What in the world is this female beta talking about? I have to correct her before Grace bolts out again. Victor looked at her sister and me funny. He knew Vivian was lying. Vivian, I need to have a word with you, said Victor. But we still need to. Victor cut his sister off. Now, Viv. To my office. Vivian crossed her arms across her chest and looked at Grace. You better not make a move on him. He is mine. Let's go, Vivian, said Victor. His voice is getting angrier by the second. She stomped her foot before following her brother. When they left the kitchen, Grace spoke. You're engaged, is that why you left? Grace. Ulrich is Vivian's fiancé. She sounded very territorial when she said not to make a move on him. What a mess. If they are engaged and I am carrying her fiancé's child, it's going to be chaotic. Not that I have any right to Ulrich. What happened between us was just a one-night stand. But we do have a right to them. He is our mate. Can't you feel it? If he is indeed our mate, why is he engaged to someone else then, Willow? Ugh. He is not engaged. Look at him. Just look at poor Ulrich. That Vivian is clearly lying. Ulrich did not confirm nor deny it. Now, what do you have to say for yourself? Don't be so hard on him. Listen to Ulrich first before you accuse him. For all we know, that little bitch Vivian is just making up a story about how she's engaged to him. Don't you think it's a little too fast? I pushed Willow at the back of my head and focused on Ulrich. I'm so upset I can snap his neck with just squinting my eyes. You're engaged, is that why you left? He shook his head. No. I was, He was at a loss for words. You were what? Confused, and I didn't know what to do, said Ulrich apologetically. I frowned at him. You're confused, and you don't know what to do. You're 27, Ulrich, I said to him in a gravelly voice. I'm sorry, Grace. But Just then, Taryn and Erica walked into the kitchen and saw me. Gracie, I just found out that he's oh dear, said Erica in a low voice when Ulrich turned around to face them. Ulrich, you're here. Alpha Ulrich, good afternoon, said Taryn. Ulrich just nodded to them and asked me to go with him. Can we please go somewhere quiet? We need to talk. We are already talking, I said to him. Don't be stubborn, Grace. He's your baby's father, and we need him. How many times do I have to tell you that he is our mate? We are destined to be with him. Willow, I thought you heard and saw everything that happened in my life. She snorted. Well, yeah. I heard you all having sex too. Ugh. Don't be gross, Willow. I won't be if you go with him. Just hear him out. What have you got to lose? If not for you, at least do it for the baby. Are you talking to your wolf? You spaced out for a second there, asked Ulrich in a whisper. I didn't realize how close he was to me until I felt his warm breath fanning my face. I didn't answer him. Instead, I asked him to come with me. We are going to talk in my bedroom, but no funny business, Ulrich. I'm warning you. I narrowed my eyes on him, but he just smiled and grabbed my hand. When I felt his touch, I couldn't pull my hand away. Heat rose up to my cheeks, and I saw Erica grinning at me in the corner of my eye. Taryn was trying hard not to smile too. Traitors. I told the girls that I would see them later before Ulrich and I left the kitchen. Ulrich and I walked together in the hallway, quietly, while the other members of the Bronze Ridge Pack looked at us, all confused. I would be, too, if I was them. They all knew me as human when I first came, but I have no doubt now that they can sense who I really am. However, I didn't hear any comments. Vivian is really the biggest problem right now, as she is not very happy with me from the very beginning. How much more now? Alpha. I heard someone calling for Ulrich, but his voice was not familiar. Brett, did you just arrive? Asked Ulrich. The man named Brett nodded. Yes. Hey, raise your new phone. Ulrich took the phone and saw that his friend was looking at me. Is she smells like tomatoes. Ulrich cleared his throat. Brett, this is Grace. Grace, this is my beta. His name is Brett. I was about to extend my hand to Brett to shake his hand, but Ulrich wouldn't let me. The next thing I knew, he grabbed my hand and intertwined it with his. I looked at him with my brows furrowed, then turned to Brett. It's nice to meet you, Brett. That's all I've managed to say, as this brute wouldn't let me shake his friend's hand. Too possessive already. It's nice to meet you, our future Luna, said Brett. He looked pleased to see me. Me? Luna? What? We are on our way up to her bedroom, said Ulrich. Brett smiled mischievously at his alpha, so I gave him a look and sneered. It's not what you think, Brett. Ulrich and I are just going to talk. No funny business whatsoever. But Ulrich's shoulders started shaking, and I knew they were ganging up on me. Ugh. These men. So annoying. I feel like getting a rope and tying them back to a tree, pouring a little bit of honey until ants crawl on them. Forgive me, our future Luna. With your permission, I will go up with the two of you and guard the door to ensure your conversation is not interrupted. I am sure you have a lot to talk about, said Brett in a more serious tone this time. Okay, I replied to him. As for Ulrich, I didn't think he minded if his beta was there or not. I figured if Ulrich knew that Brett is just outside the door, he wouldn't have tried anything funny with me. Not that I think too highly of myself, but I really don't trust my body around him, especially since I got pregnant. I missed him every day, and now that he's here, I don't know what I'm going to do. I am not sure what plans he has for the baby and me. I haven't even thought that far before. If he asked me to move to High Crown with him, I wouldn't know what to say. And Emlyn asked me for more time. She didn't want me going near High Crown anytime soon, and I gave her my word. Grace. We took the elevator to the second floor, and soon enough, we reached my bedroom. I've always been neat, so the place was clean when Ulrich came inside. Is it normal to feel nervous and excited at the same time? Have a seat, I said to him. He sat on the bed, so I took the chair near the window. The farther I am on the bed, the better. I cleared my throat, because he was just looking at me without saying anything. Start talking. We don't have all night. He got up and walked towards me. Ulrich kneeled on the floor and planted a kiss on my belly, then looked up at me. I can't believe we have a baby. Do you know whether it's a boy or a girl? I felt delighted that he wanted the baby. One of my worries is that he will not accept it. It's not easy for me, because my father didn't want to be a part of my life. If he did, he would be there every step of the way. He would have attended my programs at school, or taught me my homework. Maybe I would have more time with Mom, doing girly things, instead of her working multiple jobs. Our lives would be simple, but at least I would have a mother and a father to care for me. Does it matter if it's a boy or a girl? I asked him. Ulrich shook his head. Not really. What if the baby doesn't have a wolf? Would you still want? He cupped my face and looked at me tenderly. I love our baby, and it doesn't matter if it's a boy or a girl, with or without wolf, even if the baby turns out to be just a witch. I will be with you every step of the way. We are a family. We are a family. As pleasing as it is to hear him say that, we still have to discuss Vivian. What happened with Vivian? Why did she say you're engaged? Were you engaged at all? Don't lie to me, Ulrich. I'm a big girl, I can take it. I told him. Baby, don't baby me, Ulrich. I hissed at him. He smirked. I am not in a relationship with Vivian. Didn't you see my face when she said I was her fiancé? I was just surprised as you were. He let out an exasperated breath. Start from the beginning. I don't really care right now if he is alpha or not. I see him as unequal, the father of my child. If I tell you everything, will you let me sleep beside you tonight? Asked Ulrich. Oh boy. Before I could say anything, Willow let out a squeal. Say yes. Say yes. Could you calm down? This is our first day since. Oh please. You missed him as much as he missed you. Don't be a hypocrite. I can feel everything, and you want him so bad you want a repeat performance of New York. Except, of course, the next morning part. She giggled. Damn mutt. Well, excuse you. I am not going to have sex with him here. I am still employed by Vic, and I am in his territory. Like the pack would care. We're wolves. It's normal for us to have sex with our mates. I can't wait until you turn so I can have my time with Havoc. You are one naughty mutt, do you know that? Correction, a naughty and sexy mutt. Come on. Let him sleep beside you. The baby would be delighted to have him too. I smell like tomatoes. Willow laughed. And that's a problem, why? Ugh. Fine. Okay, but I have work tomorrow. Are you sure you want to sleep in this room? I get up in the middle of the night to use the washroom, and I will sleep better if I have you in the same room, said Ulrich while smiling happily. Did you sleep around while we're apart? I asked him directly. There's no use beating around the bush. I know men can't stand not having sex for a long time, and it's quite a while since we slept together. Wolves, they say, are worse. They want sex a lot. I couldn't. Ulrich frowned. He got up from kneeling and lifted me off my chair. Where are you taking me? I asked him. To bed. We will be more comfortable there. I have a feeling this conversation will take a while. Oh right. I agree with him. He laid me gently on top of the bed and even fixed the pillows before occupying the space beside me. Where was I? Asked Ulrich. You said you couldn't sleep with anyone. Why? Oh, that's because it only knows you. What? Who is it? Okay, what exactly do you mean? My friend down here only knows you. It won't go up for anyone. I'm out too. Ulrich put his arms around me and kissed the top of my head. When I left that morning, I was lost, and it's not my proudest moment. I knew you were my mate, but I couldn't afford to have a human Luna at the time. I don't know how much information you have about our kind, but Moon Valley just joined High Crown. There's tension between the two, and I didn't think you'd survive my world. Plus, you don't know the real me. What if you can't accept me? I figured it was easier for you to hate me if I just left without saying a word. How would you know if you didn't try? I asked him. And that's why I came back for you. Did you know I missed you just by one day? I needed to see you one last time and say goodbye. When I arrived in New York, I found out from Erica that you had just left. I asked her where you went, but she won't tell me, and I have to respect that. She didn't know me, and it was for your safety. You came back for me. I was surprised to hear him say that. I thought he had forgotten about me since it had been a month. Ulrich nodded. I did, but you were nowhere to be found, so I drove back to Montreal feeling devastated. Then, a few days later, my father talked to me about taking a Luna. He asked if I'd met my mate, and I couldn't tell him I found you, but I lost you. That was a lie. You couldn't tell him about me because you're afraid he won't approve of me. Tell me the truth, Ulrich. It won't be my first rejection. My own father didn't want to be a part of my life, so it doesn't really matter if your father did the same thing. What matters is how you feel about me. I heard him sigh. You are right. I'm sorry he won't approve of you as a human Luna at the time. I didn't know you were a part witch and a wolf. Honestly, I don't know how he would react once he finds out you're a hybrid. But I'm the alpha now, and what I say goes. Anyway, after I spoke with him, I asked my friends to track you. I even hired a private investigator to look for you. We were looking for your strawberry scent, but your smell changed into tomatoes. He let out a laugh. I smelled you back in High Crown that night of the party, but I didn't see you. I thought someone ordered spaghetti for takeout. I pinched his side. He was going to say, takeout. Grace, stop pinching me. Geez, woman, said Ulrich. Woman, huh? What happened to baby? Ulrich looked dumbfounded. Didn't you say not to call you that? I changed my mind. I pouted. Pregnant women do it all the time, and I am no exception. Okay. Ulrich simply rolled his eyes, but I did not comment. Anyway, I was wondering when your next checkup is. We have a doctor in Montreal, so that won't be. I had to cut him off right there. Wait, stop for a second. It was the conversation I was simply hoping not to have at the moment. What's the matter? He asked. I don't need another doctor. I have Dr. Hayes here. I explained to him. But you're coming home with me tomorrow. That means you need another doctor. Ulrich insisted. I adjusted myself in bed so I could face him a little better. I actually need more time. I just hoped that he would be more understanding of what I was trying to tell him. Knowing his father disapproves of having a human Luna, Plus the stupid belief of having the same species for a mate. It is bound to be a disaster on my first day at High Crown. Not to mention the promise I made to Aunt Emlyn at Shadow Moon. Arg. This is terrible. Need more time. For what? If you're worried about Dad, I've got you. Don't worry about it. He lovingly caressed my cheek, and I couldn't help but lean my face deeper into his hand and exhaled a breath with a sigh. I don't know what to tell him, because Aunt Emlyn didn't say much about why she didn't want me going to High Crown. Until then, Ulrich and I will be in the dark. I have a job to do here. I've also made a few friends. It's tiring to move again. Can I just stay here for a bit? Ulrich looked at me in disbelief. You don't have to work anymore. I have money and can provide for you. You and the baby will be cared for. You don't have to worry about anything. I shook my head. No, it's not just about the money, Ulrich. I have been living on my own for a long time, and honestly, I don't need a lot of money. I am a very simple woman, and as long as I have food on the table, pay my bills on time, a roof over my head, and clothes on my back, I am all good. But raising a child is expensive, Grace. I have no doubt you can provide for the baby while working here. I mean, I bet you any dollar Victor doesn't charge you for food and rent, does he? Food and rent are free, because it is in my contract, I said to him. Contract? No. Ulrich shook his head. He is clearly jealous of Victor and frustrated that I won't leave Bronze Ridge. He did it because he likes you. Don't be ridiculous. Sometimes I notice Victor staring at me when he thinks I don't know, but I don't like to overthink it. It's not fair to the person who has been trying to help me since he saved me from a vampire attack. Vic does not like me like that. Ulrich pressed his lips together, then he said, You even call him Vic. I tapped his nose lightly and leaned over to kiss his lips quickly. Are you jealous, Mr. Black? I got up to straddle him, and then I felt him hold my hips. May? He asked me with wide eyes. Jealous? I don't do that. Ulrich looked away, too proud to admit it. I tried to hold back my smile. Okay, I just want to let you know that I only like Victor as a friend. But he likes you and... Jeez. I feel like this conversation is like a piece of music on repeat. Would you stop? We're too old for this. I mean, you are too old for this, because I am still a baby. I laughed when I realized what I just said. Ulrich looked at me with narrowed eyes. He surely doesn't like being called old, especially too old. You know you're going to pay for that later, right? Asked Ulrich. I don't know, you tell me. I thought we would just sleep beside each other. I touched his dark hair and felt its softness. It's a little longer than the last time I saw him. I like it this way, as it complemented the shape of his face. I changed my mind, said Ulrich. I'm pregnant. I reminded him. Ida told me that it's okay to be intimate, as long as it's not hardcore. I will be very gentle, I promise. Now, where were we? I got sidetracked. His mood is lighter. We were talking about me staying here a little longer for work. He sighed. How long are we talking about? God. I don't know how long I'm supposed to stay away from High Crown. Maybe 4 weeks. That's just a rough estimate. His brows furrowed. You're going to be due soon, and our child is not going to be born here. Ulrich. Grace, I draw the line there. I will give you 2 weeks, and then you're moving into High Crown with me. Do we understand each other? He spoke with such authority that I can't bear to cross him. He is right, Grace. You need to go to High Crown with him. Why is that? He can always come here to visit me anyway. Mates don't like being away from each other. I certainly miss Havoc. Don't you long for Ulrich? The baby needs him too, you know. It's not that. I promised Aunt Emily not to go there until she said so. And if she never says yes, what then? I hate to admit it, but Willow is right. Again. I have to talk to Aunt Emily soon and ask if there's a development. Ulrich was meeting me halfway and was kind enough to give me 2 weeks. And I no longer want to fight about that, especially when he is correct. Agreed, 2 weeks. Ulrich looked pleased with my decision. Are you leaving tomorrow? I asked him. I have to go back tomorrow. Why? I felt sad hearing that. The pack always comes first. I have an appointment with Dr. Hayes tomorrow for an ultrasound. I was hoping you could go with me. He leaned forward and rubbed his nose a few times against mine. I guess I could stay for another night. What time is our appointment? I'm so happy. I gave him a peck on the lips. In the afternoon, most likely after my work. Grace. My back was a little sore from last night's sexy time. Ulrich was so naughty and didn't let me sleep until after midnight. If I weren't pregnant, I'm pretty sure we would be going at it until the sun rises. As a result, he was still asleep when I got up early for work. I left him a note on the bedside table to say I would see him for lunch. Now, I am here at the office and checking Victor's schedule for the next 2 weeks. I wanted to see how much work I'll be leaving to my replacement when I move to High Crown. Next week's calendar is full of meetings downtown. At the same time, the following week will be a little quieter with just 1 appointment in Manitoba. I was about to start working on today's task when a familiar face stopped by my desk. Good morning, Miss Vivian, I said to her. Is there something I can help you with? She was acting childish yesterday, but out of respect to her brother, I didn't say anything back. Have you seen Ulrich? He was supposed to see me last night, but he never came back. Her tone was cold. Ulrich was with me last night. We had something to talk about and it took all night. Seriously, Grace. You wanted my brother, and now you want Ulrich too. Wow, you bewitched them all. Aren't you the biggest slut in? Vivian. Victor's voice halted whatever nasty things his sister had to say to me. I have heard him talk to his sister about her attitude with me twice, but never in this tone. There was something about it that was enough to give me chills. As she was testing my patience, said Vivian. Come again? Asked Victor. What the hell was I testing now? She's trying to seduce Ulrich, and I saw him first. I've known him first. He is mine. Vivian looks so angry she's shaking. Was it some wolf claim she's doing? Because as far as I know, Ulrich said we were destined mates. But is it possible for a wolf to be mated to not just 1 but 2? I can't even fathom why the moon goddess would do such a thing, if ever. I have to ask Ulrich if he feels the mate bond with her, since Vivian is adamant about being with him. There are things that happened before you invited him here, Vivian, but it doesn't justify your actions right now. Grace is an employee here, and we are currently in the office. Act accordingly. Why we'll have to see you out. May. I'm the female beta of this pack. She was horrified. Vivian. Victor gave her a warning tone. Why do you always have to take her side? Ever since you've brought her here, all you've done is defend her. May I refresh your memory that I am your sister? You are my sister. And that's why I expected more from you. May I remind you that I am still alpha? Vivian went silent before storming out of the room, then slammed the door. Victor rubbed his nape and looked apologetically to me. Please forgive Vivian for her outburst earlier. She had her eyes set on Alpha Ulrich since the party. He said to me, I understand. I am the one who should apologize for bringing problems. Victor shook his head. No, you didn't do anything wrong. You see, my parents spoiled her too much, and now that they are not around, She was expecting that I would do the same. I didn't know what to say as it was a family matter. I don't know his parents enough to comment on the way they raised their daughter. But based on Vivian's behavior, I agree with Victor. Of course, I would not say it out loud. Is Alpha Ulrich the father of your baby? Asked Victor. I think he knew from yesterday's events, but chose not to ask. Yes, he is. I admitted to him. I'm sorry that I didn't tell you right away. I understand. So does this mean you are going to High Crown with him? I nodded. Yes, but not until about 2 weeks. I asked him for a little more time. I still work for you, and I want to give you the 2-week notice that was written in the contract. Victor's face looked somber, and he tried hard to hide it, but he failed. You don't have to do that if you have to leave immediately with him. No, I am doing this because it is the right thing to do. Please don't treat me differently, just because I am your friend. We've talked about this. If that's what you want, then let's honor the contract. Good, thank you. He nodded. By the way, did you tell him about Valentine? Oh crap. I forgot. I haven't yet, but I will tonight. Have you heard anything about him? He seems pretty quiet for someone hunting his prey. It's true. If he really wanted me, Valentine would have found me by now, unless he was gathering his army. So far, I haven't heard anything. Victor. When I went back to my office, Hans was there waiting for me. Do you need something? I asked him. Erica is driving me insane. I can't sleep properly knowing she's in here. Up to now, Hans can't believe his fated mate is a witch. I don't know what to tell you, but if you are supposed to be together, then the rules have to be reviewed or something. I don't know much about these things, but I am sure her queen mother would know what to do. Hans looked even more frustrated and irritated. At least you've met your fated mate. Look at me. I am willing to take on a chosen mate, but that didn't even work. I said to him. Grace is Alpha Ulrich's fated mate. I can tell that moment they saw each other in the kitchen. Hans scratched his chin. Consider it a blessing. Imagine if she found out what you did. She will never look at you the same way she does now. He is right. Grace will never forgive me if she finds out the truth. Grace. I finished my tasks for the morning, then met Ulrich for lunch as we planned. He hugged me right away when he saw me. Missed me already? I teased him. I didn't expect an alpha like him would know how to blush, but he did no matter how much he tried to hide it. I don't like waking up in the morning and not seeing you anymore, said Ulrich. Oh, come on, just 2 more weeks of this, and you will see me every waking day. I shook my head. No changing your mind, Mr. Black. Anyway, what do you want to do today after my checkup? Do you want to go out for dinner? He grinned. Are you asking me out? I rolled my eyes. All you had to say is yes or no, but here you are teasing me. He gave me a half-suppressed laugh. I would love to go out for dinner with you. Ulrich brought my hand to his lips and kissed my palm. Oh crap. Now, I'm the one looking all flushed. The time passed by quickly, and my work for the day was done. Vivian never bothered me again, and I haven't seen her since this morning. I headed back to my room to change when I saw Ulrich sitting on the chair near the window. He's reading the book I have about wolves. Hey baby, how was your day? Asked Ulrich. I walked towards him and kissed his cheek. Ulrich kissed my tummy in return and patted his lap for me to sit on, so I sat. Fine, my back hurts a little, but it's not that bad. I'll give you a nice massage later. He winked at me. Are we talking about a real massage in here, or something else? Why? Did you have something else in mind? We are getting to know each other now. And I noticed how he likes to answer a question with another question. Quite annoying, but cute at the same time. And he is such a flirt. "You're annoying," I said to him. "Annoying and sexy. Say it. Annoying and annoy Ulrich." He lightly bit the side of my ear. "Do you think we still have time for a quickie?" My eyes widened. "Are you for real? We just did it last night." "So?" His warm breath is fanning my face. "No, we don't have time. I'm going to freshen up and change, and then we're leaving." I stood up, and he did the same thing. I was near the bathroom when I noticed him following me. "What?" he asked when I turned to face him. "Why are you following me?" I raised a brow. I don't think he needs to use the loo. That's when I saw him scratching his head and the glint in his eyes. Ulrich was clearly planning something dirty in the bathroom. "Don't make me use my powers on you." I used a more serious tone and crossed my arms across my chest for added effect. Ulrich put his hands up and walked away. I stared at his back for a good few seconds before closing the door. And I realized he might be High Crown's alpha, but he will always be the annoying and sweet Ulrich, to me the father of my child and my fated mate. Ida looked so happy to see me with Ulrich when we came to her clinic for the appointment. After a few questions, she asked me to change into a gown. Ulrich tied the strings at my back and helped me up in bed. "Are you excited?" I asked him. "Yes, too excited actually." Ulrich took my hand, and I noticed how cold his hand was. "He is nervous." "Relax, we are doing fine. I forgot to ask you this last night. Do you want to know the gender, or keep it as a surprise?" "I am in the middle of wanting to know, and wanting it to be a surprise. How about you?" "Same, I'm torn." He laughed a little. "Aren't we a pair?" "Should we leave it as a surprise then?" asked Ulrich. I nodded. "Final answer?" "Yes." We told Ida we didn't want to know the gender, and she agreed. She proceeded with the ultrasound and pointed out where the head was and all the other body parts for us, but it is for Ulrich mostly. "Amazing," said Ulrich. When he looked at me, his eyes were shining with so much joy. "We were told the baby is healthy and another checkup is due next week." Ulrich asked for the date so he could come, and I am glad he didn't want to miss it. Valentine. A few days later, I slammed the book I was reading. I have been waiting to know where Grace went, only to hear this terrible news. "What do you mean she's dead?" I felt like snapping Vincent's neck in two. "My lord, Grace Aspen, who worked in that coffee shop you mentioned, is dead. Here is her death certificate. She died a few days ago." "No, this is fake," I shouted at him. "It is registered, my lord." "I am afraid it is true." "Then let's check the body if it's really her," I insisted. "I am sorry, but that won't be possible. She has been cremated. This can't be happening. I am so close to finally being able to walk in the sunlight, and without needing human blood. I hate being thirsty all the time." "If I may, my lord?" asked Vincent. I shot him another angry look. "If this is another terrible news, I will cremate you myself." Vincent sighed. "I might as well hear what he has to say." "You may speak." "Thank you, my lord. Rumors are circulating that another strain has surfaced." "Amaris?" I asked him. "Amaris' child was lost when she was merely a baby." "Yes, my lord. They were calling her Princess Grace. I am not sure if the one we are looking for and the one that has returned to Shadowmoon is the same Grace." I stared at Vincent for a few seconds and put my thoughts together. Faking death, when did the rumors start? About the same time she died. That made me smile. Grace is a clever one, isn't she? Vincent nodded. We can't go to Shadowmoon without an invitation. My lord, this princess is not in Shadowmoon. Then where the hell is she? Can't you get straight to the point, Vincent? One of the servants at Shadowmoon, who is secretly going out with Roberto, said the princess works at Bronze Ridge. Roberto is one of us. He has a business in Windsor. Bronze Ridge. That's Victor's pack. We are talking about the same Grace. I know it. He saved her that night. But if she's a witch, the wolves have their stupid rule of not having different species under their roof. I don't understand. What else are you not telling me? She's a part wolf, my lord. A hybrid. Interesting. Get us a dark witch. I need someone who can let us into any pack. My lord, there is only one witch who can do that, and she is no longer at Shadowmoon. She was banished. Do I look like I care? Find her. Queen Emlyn. Windsor. I am aware that Grace wants to know more about her mother's reason for not letting her go to High Crown. Still, I can't tell her why until I am certain, especially now that she is carrying Ulrich's child. A lot of hearts will break if the secret comes out, and later on, we find out it's a lie. My thoughts were cut short when I heard a knock. Mom, it's me, said Em. Come in, dear. I was looking for another spell so I could go back to the past and see it for myself. But it is missing one ingredient, a strand of hair of the person I'm going to see at that moment. Dawn is gone, and Grace's father refuses to see me. That leaves me no choice but to see his wife. She will be the ultimate key to this whole thing. I tried to see her, but she won't speak about it. Something about the moon goddess forbidding it. How am I supposed to contest that? Have you done what I've asked you to do? Em nodded. I did, with some magic. Of course, it would have been easier if Grace had been with me. She could freeze everyone, and I'd go in and declare her dead. If she went with you, then someone might see her, and the whole plan would fail. I know Valentine won't buy it that easily, but it would at least cause a delay. He can't attack any territory without an invitation anyway. But Mom, you know there's one being that can go into any territory or coven without an invitation except here. Valentine would be looking for a dark witch by now. It's true. How can I forget? My mother's twin sister, Alondra, has been banished from Shadowmoon after my mother proved that she had something to do with Aunt Amara's death. Queen Amari possessed all the power there is for a witch. Still, there is something that would make her powerless, and eventually, death of sap from the dragon's blood tree. The tree resembles a mushroom and can only be found in Yemen. No one knew about it except for the seer and the queen, of course. Mom learned about this before her sister died, and there's no way to reverse it. Alondra found out about her sister's weakness and was pissed that she wasn't chosen as a successor. It's still a wonder why she didn't kill Mom instead. Unless she's dead, and she's not dead. I can feel her. I said to my daughter. Alondra has turned into a dark witch after killing her own sister, and I have no doubt she possesses more dark powers now. Find out what Alondra is up to, so we can watch her every move. Do you think she will hurt Grace? Asked Em. Who? Valentine or Alondra? Alondra. It depends. Valentine is powerful too, and he needs Grace alive. The eclipse is happening in November. The frosty half-blood moon eclipse, said Em. Correct. We have to protect Grace at all costs. Make sure no one talks about her outside the realm. Valentine. I made a trip to Windsor and visited Roberto. The weather is getting nicer, not that I have a problem with the cold. The last time I was here was the summer of 1940. 8 years later, Amari was born. Dimitri told me that a descendant of her will give me unlimited power to rule the world. I found it funny then, because Amari was a witch, and we don't mix species. I thought the prophecy was wrong, and Dimitri has gone demented. Thinking back now, Amari fell in love with a human, and it was rumored that she gave birth to a child who had no powers. It didn't take long for the baby to go missing, and now her granddaughter has returned a hybrid. My lord, what do I owe the pleasure of your visit? Asked Roberto. He looked surprised to see me at his doorstep. Roberto, aren't you going to let me in? I asked him. He looked embarrassed. Apologies, my lord. Please come in and make yourself comfortable. I took off my coat and handed it to him. I looked around his home, and it was cozy. I also noticed that there are lots of windows. Aren't you scared that you'd burn alive in here? No, my lord. The blinds will automatically cover all the windows at 5 in the morning, and no sunlight would come through. He put my coat in a hanger and put it in the closet. Interesting. The world has changed significantly. I took a seat and made myself comfortable. You know why I came to see you, right? Roberto shook his head. There's a rumor you've been seeing a witch from Shadow Moon, is that correct? Yes, my lord. He looked nervous. What's her name? Nympha. Nympha Atkins, my lord. Tell me what this Nympha told you about the new princess. She didn't tell me much. Nympha just said that the new princess is not just a witch, but a wolf as well. She's Amari's granddaughter. Does she have any powers? She was curious, so Nympha tried to find out as much as she could about the princess. She said that the princess unlocks one power a day. I believe the princess has the power to freeze time, and something that has to do with mental power. Nympha is not very bright, my lord. That's all right, we can use your witch to get more information. Is there anything else you want to tell me? According to Nympha, the princess is pregnant and due in a few weeks. And the father of the child? I asked him. The Alpha of High Crown. Oh, it's bound to be a bloodbath. High Crown in Montreal is the largest pack in Canada, and if Grace is getting one power a day, I need every vampire there is for the battle. The Alpha won't give up his Luna so easily. But first, I need to find Alondra and make a deal with her. Of course, she won't do it without anything in return, and that is Grace's power. If I am not mistaken, she will come to her full powers before the eclipse. Grace. Ulrich and I had a lovely time together during his stay here at Bronze Ridge. So he was a little sad when it was time for him to go. He kept asking if I was going to be okay, and attempted to change my mind about the 2 weeks I asked for. I told him that I had my cousin and friends here, and there was nothing to worry about. After giving him a few kisses and a tight hug, he left with Brett. Ulrich mentioned that he would tell his parents about us when he got home. I guess it's sort of like preparation for my arrival or something. I didn't know what to say to that, so I just gave him a nod and a smile to put him at ease. But in truth, I feel nervous. So here I am, just tidying up my table at work, as the day went by quickly when Erica and Taryn came to see me. Are you done? We were going to ask if you wanted to go out and hang out at the coffee shop, asked Erica. She doesn't drink coffee, said Taryn. She used to work in the kitchen before she was moved to do laundry. But now that I am moving to High Crown, I am not sure if Taryn will still be able to look after my baby. I have to ask Victor if she would let her come with me, or if she's willing to live at High Crown. They serve tea, I think. Let me take a look at their menu online for a second. Taryn walked towards me and asked, "Let me help you. You looked a little tired." I'm fine, I had a late night, and Ulrich left early this morning. She's not really tired, Grace is missing her baby. Erica butted in. She is talking about Ulrich. I squinted my eyes at her and then said, "How's it going with your new boss?" Erica looked annoyed already, which made me laugh. "Don't even say his name, that man is infuriating as hell. I typed all the contracts and memos he asked for, and he made me redo it. Can you believe it?" What was wrong with them? When I glanced to my right, I saw Taryn emptying my garbage, then put it near the door. The housekeeper usually picks it up after office hours to make sure we are not disturbed at work. However, if there's a spill or anything that needs to be cleaned up right away, we just call them and they'll come up. When I look at Taryn, something tells me she's not an ordinary Omega. One of these days, I will talk to her and find out the story of her life. Maybe practice a little magic while I'm at it. "I misspelled his name," said Erica. My jaw dropped while Taryn burst out laughing. "How can you get his name wrong? It's a 4-letter word. Audiobook. It's not the first name, but his last name. I didn't know it had 2-letter Ds." Erica looked frustrated. "Well, at least you just needed to add 1 letter. You saved all the documents, right?" I asked her. "That's not a lot of work." Her face fell. "Nope, I thought it would just occupy space, so I didn't save it." "So you had to literally type everything all over again?" "I can't believe my cousin. Were you staring at him the whole time and left your brain at his desk? Is that why you didn't save the files?" I was not looking at him. Erica's cheeks turned red. "Oh yeah, she does. I caught her at lunch." Taryn chimed in. Erica shot her a look. "No, I wasn't." Taryn just shook her head and laughed. "I'm all done here, if you're finished with your desk," she said to me. "I'm done, thanks for your help, Taryn. How about I treat you guys to coffee while I have my tea? Maybe when Miss Strain here drinks coffee, she will be able to remember how to spell Goddard, since she will be taking his last name soon." "Goddard, right?" asked Taryn. "Ugh. You two are so irritating." "Let's go," said Erica. She was the first to leave my office. Erica drove us to the coffee shop she was telling us about, and it's not far from here. I tried their wild berry tea, and it was good. We all chatted for a bit until it was almost time to go back for dinner. After dinner, I received a call from Aunt Emlyn. "Grace, it's your aunt. Has Victor told you anything about Valentine yet?" "No, he hasn't." "Why? Is there something wrong?" My aunt sounded worried. "I was out for a walk in the garden this evening when I sensed a vampire nearby." "And you think it's Valentine?" I asked her. "Yoon is brave enough to go near Shadow Moon, but him, although I know there are a few vampires in this city, they just mind their own business. They come and go as they please. Let's say it's Valentine, why would he go to Shadow? Oh goddess, Aunt Emlyn, he knows about me. But who would tell him about you? I didn't, and your cousins wouldn't either. I doubt Victor or Ulrich will." When I talked to Ulrich last night about Valentine, he got worried and blamed himself for what happened. Ulrich said that the baby and I almost died because he was irresponsible, but I told him that things happen for a reason and he shouldn't dwell on the past. I asked him to move forward with me so that we could be a family. "Do you have anyone that you're not on good terms with?" she asked. "Victor's sister was upset with me because she thinks I stole Ulrich from her." "Were they in a relationship?" "No, Ulrich said that they are just friends and he kinda used her to know if I was here." "Used her? Like befriended her?" Aunt Emlyn clarified. "Yes, but I guess Vivian took it wrong, and when Ulrich and I got back together, it devastated her." "Is she capable of hurting you?" "Honestly, I don't know her enough to say she is. But then there's Shadow Moon. I set foot in it, and now they know about me. There's Nympha, she knows I am a hybrid. She could talk. I have this antsy feeling she's a traitor to the coven. And Emlyn, have you checked the people at Shadow Moon? What do you mean? Well, Nympha knows I am a hybrid. And Emlyn let out a deep sigh. Everyone at Shadow Moon knows who you are, Grace, not just Nympha. But don't worry, I'll check and see if there's someone here sharing information outside in the meantime. Don't go out if you don't have to. How are your powers coming along? One a day. Good, the day you don't get one means you have reached your maximum. It's getting late. I will call again in a couple of days. Good night, dear Grace. Victor and I, along with Hans and Lowell, had meetings all day downtown, and by the time we finished, it was time for supper. Erica didn't go with us, as she had more pressing things to do. The sky looked cloudy, and if there's one thing I picked up right away when I moved here, it is the ever-changing weather. Only in Canada, where you think it's summer only to be fooled again, because there are flurries. So I make sure to bring a thicker coat to keep me warm, and I don't care if they find me weird. At least I won't be shivering like crazy. Are you hungry? Asked Victor. I'm not very hungry, but I could eat a little. Why? We have a couple of hours to drive home, and you will be hungry by then. There's not a lot of restaurants along the way, so I thought we should eat here. He suggested. If the guys are okay with it, then let's go eat. I'm actually starving. That meeting with Mr. Ildefonso was long and boring. He kept changing his damn mind about the color of the building. Lowell made a sour face, which made me laugh a little. At least he didn't want a purple exterior like Miss Delgado this morning. Hans looked flabbergasted. She didn't want her clients to miss it. I said to him, laughing while I heard Victor making reservations to a restaurant. Oh, no one would miss it. All right. What's that purple sticky rice called from the Philippines? Hans asked Lowell. Lowell thought about it for a second, then said, Puto something. Wait, Puto Bombay. It's really good. We should make another trip to Scarborough before Christmas. They sell it around that time. Maybe I should look it up online, and we can get some ingredients tomorrow. I said to them. I wanted to learn how to do it. They love to eat at the main house, and if I can make this, it's like early Christmas in the middle of summer. You're going to try and cook it? Asked Lowell. I nodded. Are you sure we're not going to end up at Dr. Hayes' clinic? He looked worried. Hans burst out laughing and shut up immediately when I gave them both a look. We are just teasing you, Gracie. I can't believe you're leaving us for High Crown. I can feel the sincerity in his voice. I'm definitely going to miss seeing you around. It was my turn to tease him, so I cleared my throat. Are you sure it's me you're going to miss, or my cousin? Lowell started laughing and said, Burn. Hans turned red, and before he could say anything, Victor said he had made reservations at Zoom Linzer. We didn't need to take the car as it is not a far walk. When we got there, the three of them ordered beer, while I settled for iced tea. The menu looks good, and I chose schnitzel with veggies and mashed potatoes with gravy. We had a nice dinner, but I did not expect the trouble we were about to face when we turned around the corner on our way back to the parking lot. The air suddenly felt unusually cold, and the soft light from a few posts nearby didn't help with the fear trying to creep up on me. I can smell vampires, and there's a lot of them. I don't see Valentine in here, but if my hunch is correct, he is using his troops to see what kind of power I have. This way, he can plan his attack accordingly in the future. That's smart. But I am smarter than him. How many are they? Asked Lowell. The three of them put me in the middle so they could protect me. It's weird how at 9 in the evening, this parking lot looks deserted. Hans answered. About 30, give or take. They want Grace. Hans, stay with her and keep her safe. Lowell and I will take care of these fools," said Victor. "I can help," I said to them. "I may not have shifted yet, but I have a few powers of my own. They are trying to know what you have so they can prepare for a bigger attack. If you ever feel the need to help us, make sure you don't show them all your powers. Got it?" asked Victor. I nodded. And if I fainted the last time I saw Victor shifted into a big dog, I mean a big wolf, I didn't lose consciousness this time. They all turned, but Hans, Wolf, stayed beside me. He is fast and strong, and every vampire who tries to come close to us goes flying in the air. But doing that nonstop can make anyone tired, even the strongest wolf. I can tell Hans is getting weary. The math was wrong, it's not 30. It's more like 50 vampires or so. My friends and I are way outnumbered. When all 5 vampires came to attack Hans at once, and he fell, I couldn't stand here and not do anything anymore, so I waved my hand and sent them away. One of them ended up near the trash bin, while the others hit the pavement. Hans got up slowly, and I saw him bleeding. I saw one of the vampires take a jab with his long nails at his back earlier, and now he is torn between leaving me and helping Victor and Lowell. The two are looking tired, and I can barely see them as the vampires just kept going forward non-stop. Hans can't speak in wolf form, but I can read his eyes, so I told him to go. "I will be fine, go and help them," I said to Hans and patted his body. I don't know where these vampires are coming from, and if it was 50 when I counted, it seemed to me that the number had doubled, and they kept coming. My friends are bleeding from the fight, and these vampires are vicious. They kept coming at me too, but I just kept throwing them in the air. How long has it been? I am getting tired, as I didn't have a lot of practice on this before, not to mention I am pregnant. It seems to me that the more I use my powers, the more tired I get. There must be something I need to do to prevent that from happening. But for now, I have to do something else. I am not sure how long my freezing power lasts, but I have to try it now, so we can go home before we all die here tonight. I shouted the words, stopping my head, and raised my hand. Suddenly, everything is frozen. I was careful to unfreeze just my friends, so they could go back into their human form. We didn't have time to find their clothes, so they went inside the car but naked. "You're driving?" asked Lowell, who looked surprised. "Yes, I read the manual the other day. Put your seatbelts on, please. We are going home," I said to them. As I was driving, the guys still had their guard up just in case we were being followed. I know this is only the beginning. I am not sure how many vampires does Valentine have. Still, we are going to need almost every pack in this country to help us when he attacks. I have no doubt I will be able to defeat Valentine if my powers reach their maximum. The biggest question is, would the other packs help a hybrid like me? I have to meet the seer at Shadow Moon,